Hey there, book lovers. I hope you're ready to add some new books to your TBR or some new books to your library checkouts if you're a Hoopla user, because I've got the Hoopla popular titles for March list ready for you today, so let's check it out. The first book that I have for you guys today is Twisted Love by Huang. This is about grumpy, successful Alex who finds himself falling for free-spirited Ava, who happens to be his best friend's sister, no matter how hard he tries not to fall for her. This is book one in this author's Twisted series, which is an interconnected standalone series. So you can read the books out of order. You don't need to read them books 1, 2, and 3 and 4. There are 4 books. This is a grumpy sunshine brother's best friend contemporary romance with spice. I read this one and gave it 3 stars. I ended up liking book 2 better than book 1. However, I did include this one in the list for the same reason that I read it first, is because it's an interconnected standalone. The characters do show up in future books. And I'm one that I like to read those interconnected standalones in order, even though you don't have to, because I know those characters do show up throughout the series in previous books, and I kind of wanted to have that context. So I did want to go ahead and recommend this book, even though I only gave it 3 stars and just kind of thought it was okay compared to the second book that I read in the series, which I did enjoy a lot more. But like I said, I wanted to give everybody that option in case you're like me and you prefer to have that context if characters show up in other books. And speaking of book 2 in that series, the next book that I have on the list for you guys is Twisted Games by Huang, which is book 2 in that Twisted series by this author. This is the story of Bridget, who is a princess who begins to fall for her bodyguard Reese, a relationship that soon becomes a forbidden one when her brother abdicates the throne and leaves her next in line, where the rules state that she has to marry someone of royal blood. This is a forbidden romance with spice. Like I said, I read this one and I gave it 4 stars compared to the first book. I really enjoyed it a lot better. I have not continued with this series yet just because other things caught my eye, but I do intend to go back to it. Because I did enjoy this series. I'm just not really in a contemporary romance sort of mood yet. But I would recommend this one if that's something you're interested in, and you don't mind spice in your romance. The next book that I have for you guys on the list is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is the story of Mare, who is a commoner that's known as a red because of the color of her blood, which is red compared to the upper elite class of silvers. And she discovers that she has the sort of powers that is usually only found in silvers. And in order to keep the secret of her true identity from being revealed, the silver elite class declare that she's the long lost silver princess who's now engaged to a silver prince. And, you know, they create this manufactured identity for her to like keep the secret that she's actually a red. And knowing all of that and knowing what it could mean if she gets caught, it could mean that she gets killed. Mare still decides to work in secret with the Red Guard, which is a resistance group determined to bring down the Silver regime. This is book 1 in this author's Red Queen series, which has 4 books. It is a YA fantasy series that I really enjoyed back when I read it several years ago. I gave it 4 stars. I always love YA fantasy, no matter, how old I get. It's always fun to read. And this one was no exception. This was a very quick and engaging read and really enjoyable series for me. So if you are a YA fantasy fan, and are looking for a new series to pick up, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. Next up on the list, we have Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the story of Kelsier, who assembles a ragtag crew of criminal allomancers, which are people who can control metal in this series, with a plan to overthrow the Lord Ruler and free the Ska people. The plan seems like a long shot until he meets Vin and begins to help her master her powers of allomancy. This is book 1 in the Mistborn saga, which is an initial 3-book trilogy, but there are other related trilogies and series that take place in the same universe as this one. Brandon Sanderson is a master at world building, and if you have not read any of his books, the Mistborn trilogy is definitely a good entry point for you to pick up if you're not familiar with his writing, or anyone who hasn't read him yet. It is actually being adapted into a movie. The trilogy is being adapted into a feature film series for Apple TV Plus, which is currently in development, with Brandon Sanderson acting as a writer, producer, and consultant on the project, which is actually really exciting. And I really, really hope they do that one justice, because I really enjoyed this when I read it. I gave it 5 stars. I plan to read more of those series. I just need to figure out where to go next, because like I said, he's a master at world building, and there's a lot of interconnected books within, like, there's a whole universe that he's created, and it's kind of difficult to figure out where to go next with his Cosmere universe and his Stormlight Archive books, and they all kind of weave together. So it's almost like a multiverse sort of thing, that I'm going to have to do more research as to. One, I'm probably going to have to reread the Mistborn trilogy anyway, because it's been a while, and then kind of figure out where to go next. But definitely something I would recommend. Perfect for fantasy fans, especially for those who enjoy complex magic systems within the books that they read. This is definitely right up your alley for sure. The next book that I've got for you guys on this list is From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This is the story of Poppy, who has been chosen from birth and raised to be the Maiden, which is a sort of sacrifice for her people as she waits for her ascension. And she begins to fall for her guard Hawk, which is something that's forbidden to her in her solitary position as the Maiden. But not everything is as it seems, including with the guard that she's so taken with. So this is book 1 in the Blood and Ash series. It's not yet completed, but it's rumored to be finished with book 7. There is no release date for that one yet. I enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars when I read it. I really, really like this series. I am going to have to reread all of the books once the last one finally comes out, because it's been so long and I need a refresher. And she keeps adding books. So if you're one that you would rather wait until this series is finished, it sounds like it might be close to being done. Finally, so, and like I said, there are quite a few books. If you want to go ahead and start on it, you might finish it by the time the new one, the last one comes out. There's also a spin-off series, Flesh and Fire, that I have read separately and really like. But, when I was looking for research on this book, and the series in general, there is a suggested reading order on Goodreads that integrates the 2 series, because they eventually merge timelines. So I am excited to read both of these again, once that series is completed, and kind of read them all together, in that correct suggested order. But if you haven't started the series yet, I would recommend it. Like I said, there are plenty of books out currently that you could probably get through it, hopefully within enough time that the series is actually finished. That is it for all of the books on the list that I have personally read and can recommend to you guys. If you have read any of those already and you have thoughts, definitely share those in the comments. But shifting gears to books that I haven't read that are on this list, and books that there are some on here that I personally did add to my TBR. So let's take a look. The first one I've got for you guys is The Rose Code by Kate Quinn. This is a story of 3 female code breakers in World War II at Bletchley Park. It talks about what led them there, how they became friends, and what tore their friendship apart, and the spy that they must root out after the war is over. So it's a World War II historical fiction about 3 female cryptanalysts. I have a couple of other books by this author already on my TBR, and this one sounds really interesting. So I figured, what's one more? When this one already sounds really good. So what's one more to add? So if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, definitely check it out. The next book that I have for you guys on the list is On Wings of Blood by Briar Boleyn. This is the story of Medra Pendragon, who is a half-fae and the last of the dragon riders, and is captured and forced to attend Bloodwing Academy, a school for high-blood vampires, where she's basically considered to be at the bottom of the food chain and has to figure out how to survive. This is a dark academia fantasy with a bully villain with Draco Malfoy energy who eventually gets the girl. It is book 1 in the Bloodwing Academy series. There are currently 2 books. Book 3 just came out this week. And this series may cross over with characters from this author's Blood of a Fae series, but can be read independently. So I have actually seen this one around quite a bit, and reading the summary on this one makes it sound really, really interesting. The Draco Malfoy energy is intriguing enough that I definitely added this one to my TBR. So if it sounds interesting enough for you guys to add, maybe check it out. Next on the list is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. This is a story about a female apothecary that secretly dispenses poisons to liberate women from the men who have wronged them, and sets 3 lives across centuries on a dangerous collision course. This is an interesting premise and a really pretty cover. I've been seeing this one around at my local library, and kind of interested in seeing what it's about. It sounds like it's told from from 3 different POVs across like 3 different time periods. But yeah, it sounds interesting, and it seems like it's popular with a lot of people on Hoopla. So if it sounds like something you're interested in, definitely check it out. Next up on the list, we have Bound by Ali Hazelwood, which is the story of Veronica, who turns her art history skills into a forgery side hustle as a short-term way to pay her grad school bills and help her friends out of trouble. But then her work draws the attention of Professor Victor Ashworth, who politely kidnaps her and asks her to forge a mysterious ancient manuscript for him. This is a dark academia romance with guaranteed spice because it's Ali Hazelwood. It is currently only available in audio, but knowing Ali Hazelwood and having read a book of hers that was only in audio for a time that was just recently released on paperback, I have a feeling that will change in the future, but for right now it is in audio only. But if you've seen any of my previous videos, you know I'm an Ali Hazelwood fan. And I have seen that this one was going to come out. It's been on my to be released list, and I kind of forgot about it. So I saw this, and of course it went on my TBR. But if it sounds like something that's up your alley, I would definitely check it out. The last book that I have on the list for you guys is Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. This is the story of Adam and Amelia Wright, who win a weekend away to Scotland, and it might be just what their marriage needs, but one of them isn't telling the truth, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. It's a mystery thriller, and if you caught my video last week, you know that I am a new fan of this author. So I am actually excited to add another one by this author to my TBR, especially one that I don't have to wait for. Based on my experience of having finished one of her books already, this one is sure to be filled with lots of twists and keep you guessing to the end. So that if that is something that you are interested in, if you are a mystery thriller fan, and you're looking for a new book to basically fly through, because that's what I ended up doing, then you should definitely check this one out. And that is all that I've got for you guys today in today's video. I hope that was helpful. I hope you were able to find some new titles to add to your TBR or your library checkout list if your library uses Hoopla and those books are available for you guys. If you have read any of the books that I mentioned in this review, especially ones that I've already read and you have thoughts on it, please feel free to share those thoughts in the comments. I'm always willing to talk about, books that I've read with other people, and I would love to hear your thoughts. So please share those. For those of you looking to find out what's next on the channel, be sure to be on the lookout for my review of the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Dinniman. This is book 3 in this author's Dungeon Crawler Carl series. And if you missed my reviews of books 1 and 2, you can catch those here. I'll also put links in the description for those as well. But this one follows the story of Carl and Donut, who have made it to level 4 of the dungeon, which is something known as the Iron Tangle, a vast and complicated subway system that the crawlers must decode in order to find the staircase down to the next level before this one collapses. The crawlers are all working together on this level, but with Carl and Donut in the top 10 with bounties on their heads, not everyone can be trusted. This review will have spoilers because it is book 3 in the series. It's unavoidable. As always, I will put a spoiler alert tag wherever I can just to give everybody a heads up. But I really enjoyed this one as well. It was a bit more complex to get into just because of the way it's been written, with that subway system. When he said it was complicated, he wasn't kidding. But it was definitely a wild ride as always by the end of the book. And I can't wait to share my thoughts with you guys on it. So definitely stay tuned for that one. But if you liked anything you saw in this video today and want to see more like it, definitely be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more content. But otherwise, I will see you next time and happy reading.